Oh, guys, good morning and welcome into the stream. Happy Friday. We have finally made it to Friday. And how about last night's football game? What'd you think? It was interesting to say the least. Kind of another twist curveball there at the end that maybe I wasn't fully expecting to see, but especially with yeah, it wasn't as profitable last night. It was one of probably maybe the worst Thursday night football games for me personally, just in terms of some of the plays that we had. A couple hit, but some lost. So we're gonna be. I'd love to hear your thoughts though on the game, as we have some college football games tonight, and then obviously we have a bunch of football games coming up tomorrow and Sunday. So I already have the OddsJam optimizer teed up and ready to go. And so we're going to kind of jump into some bets right now. Irish, what's going on? Sharpshooter, how are you guys? Good morning. And we're going to look at right now the OddsJam optimizer. We're just going to kind of focus on that today. And we're going to put together we're going to look at PrizePicks first. As you guys can see here at the top, I am selected on three-man powers. So we're going to focus on three-man powers first and foremost. And we're going to look at some different plays. So, we see a lot of times, guys, when it comes to this, these are some different slips that I'm going to be kind of rocking that I think that are going to be fairly solid, because I do like some of the discrepancy that we're getting lines with PrizePicks. We're looking at esports right now. And esports has been a thing, something that I haven't, when I first started using the optimizer, I didn't bet it a ton, but I am starting to bet it more and more. So the only difference here, guys, is you're going to just have to bear with me for a bit, because, OddsJam doesn't really have the one-click bet feature when it comes to all of this. So this Cade play did bump a half play, a half kill, which is totally fine. And then I'm also going to look at this Nord play as well. Yeah, I would do I prefer the over 27.5 map kills. I can't. They're from the same team, so I can't take the Nord play. We have to take one or the other with this Cade and Nord play. Well, let me see here with Reese. No, don't like that one. And so I'm just kind of going through here, guys, and just double checking some of these lines on my own. Looking at maybe what we have, like the Sam Darnold play. Ooh, okay, we're looking at what, this over 206.5 passing and rushing yards. And you could see this is 215.5 on. Okay. I don't mind the Sam Darnold play. Obviously, Sam Darnold's not going to run a ton against the Steelers. He's not really a mobile quarterback. He's more of a statue. But it's going to be definitely a discrepancy when it comes to passing yards. So we're going to throw this together. If you guys haven't already, make sure you use your Travis Kelce free square. And we're looking for passing and rushing yards on Darnold. Okay, we're going to take the more over there. It should be at, is this at 206? No, it's at 215.5. So this bumped as well. So this Sam Darnold play is no longer any good. Let me refresh this page. Already got killed last night. Look at some TDs run, no doubt about that. We're also going to look at the UFC card, guys. We do have some UFC coming up. And then, yeah, so this Darnold play, where's this passing and rushing yards? I don't see this. No, I just see the passing yards. So I don't see that at all. We're going to look at some anytime touchdowns. We'll look at some, we'll look also at the UFC card for this weekend coming up. Look at some fights. Let me see the Z1 over first map kills. No, not really interested in that play at all. And then maybe execute. Let me look at executor. Okay, yeah, the executor over 14.5 map, for 14.5 map headshots. We're getting this at 14.5, or it's at 15.5 an underdog. I don't mind that over there. Again, this is CS2 Go, Counter-Strike Go, I should say that we're going, or just Counter-Strike. So let me throw an executioner. And I'm looking just to run three-man powers is where I'm really looking to go after. So over 14.5. And then what else we have? Matthew Boyd. I don't like doing fantasy scores. And then Nico for the 14.5. We can see 15.5, 16.5 on parlay play. Let me see if this is any good to go. And so the story here, guys, is that, you know, I normally like to use DGF's tools, but every now and then I just kind of like to go against it. So not Nico one, not so much. Caleb Williams on rushing attempts. This is only 10 cents off, 9 cents, 10 cents. I can get in on this looking at Caleb Williams over on his rushing attempts. I don't mind that play. It's slightly off a little bit to Pinnacle in FanDuel. And so let me see if I can throw that one in as well. Where's the rushing attempts at? Over 4.5. So these are going to be kind of all overs. And again, I can only rock $5 a slip, but we'll throw this on a power entry. 3-leg power, and I'll share this with you guys right here. And there it is. Nice to hear that one. Happy for. We'll do it. Copy this. There we go. Copy. Okay, there's the first prize pick slip. Let's take a look at Underdog. See what we have with Underdog. And we're going to get a lot of fantasy scores. And it's one of my least favorite things to do is to bet fantasy scores because, in my opinion, every site does it a little differently in terms of how they like to go about it. In terms of the scoring, in terms of everything. So again, I'm just going to take a look at some of these, some of the recommendations that we're getting on. Again, if you're betting, we bet is over. I'm not going to probably bet is under, but again, if you wanted to, obviously it's at 27.5 on Underdog. It's at 25 on PrizePicks. So you could play a middle slip in that scenario, but you know it's going to be a little tougher sometimes. You know, but you're going to have a bit of a gap that you can find there that you can hit up. So let's take a look at. Yeah, the over 17.5. Yeah, I'm not really interested in that one. How about Kayo? And if you guys want to, when you're kind of betting these, the under 30, so this might have bumped a bit to 34. You can see PrizePicks is at 34. This is the first two map kills for Kayosuke. I don't mind that, though. And what we're doing here, guys, is that obviously I have access to a lot of different tools. And so one of my favorite other tools that I love to use when I'm betting, specifically when I'm betting, it's under 35.5. That's there. Okay. Let me see where this is at. Against Team Falcons, VP. Yeah. First two map kills. Okay, yeah. I love using the Larry model. I've talked about this before in the past. The Larry model is something that I really like to use. So one strategy that I really like to use is OddsJam's Optimizer. And then I kind of take a look at this when it comes to the Larry model to see if there's anything that matches up. And they kind of match up together. So I understand that maybe you guys might not have access to that. But what I like, this is kind of one of my favorite things that I like to do. So first map shots on broke, not really. Bo Nix passing completions. We're getting the under 21.5. It's only minus 114 on FanDuel. I will say the FanDuel doesn't scare me when it comes to betting player props, but I'm not a big fan of that. So this is kind of one of the things that I like to do is take a look at, different players, and especially when it comes to esports. Now, if you believe heavily in Hot Streak's line, then obviously taking Lincoln Pear or Pari is pretty solid on his rushing attempts, right, against Texas State ASU. Same with Brad Jackson, where Fliff has this at 181.5, and we're getting 195.5. Now, I can't bet collegiate player props, but if you can, this looks like a decent thing. Ron, how do you add a parlay to the bet tracker? You have to do it manually. So if you're on you can't do it on the mobile app. So at least to my knowledge, you can't in the mobile app. I've went through this example numerous different times. You have to do this on the desktop. So you have to find the play on the desktop, right? If you open this play up, this little dollar sign right here says add to parlay. And then in the top right-hand corner, once you click add to parlay, you'll see this dollar sign here turn purple. Once you have 2, 3, 4, 5 picks, that's how you add it. So you can't do it on the mobile app. You have to do it on the desktop. At least that's to my knowledge. If someone else knows a little bit better, let me know. But I haven't figured out a way to do it for mobile. You have to use the desktop. But it's a good question. So, Kush, yeah. So I'm not really finding much for esports that agrees with the Larry model and OddsJam's model. That's kind of the problem here. So that's why I'm not really sharing a slip. Z1 under 31.5. If that's out there, then I don't mind this the Zin play here for CS2 Go. Okay, yeah, I like the lower. All right, we just need one more. We just need one more right now because I got this. We got this play, and then we got the Kayusuki play, or Kayu, wherever you say this. Okay, and then where else can we go? Where else can we go? So that's my slip right now at the moment. Not liking Spooky. How about Peppo? And with Peppo, we're looking at what? Map shot kills? Yeah. This is, again, these are all going to be Counter-Strike plays, but I don't mind that. And it's going to be, what, the over 9.5. So this is going to be our slip that we're going to rock here, guys. We'll throw this in. It's going to be a power entry, but I'm going to share this with you guys over here and do it. Yeah, EV Tour, only the event page as well. That's the other way I would do it. You have to look up the event, right, Ron? And then click Add to Parlay or the EV tool. But again, on any of the tools on desktop, whether it's arbitrage or EV, it's going to be the same thing. It's going to be the same thing where you're going to be able to expand the play and find it, or if you go to sports and find the play on its own. All right, so that's going to be the 3-pick slip here. We're taking Peppo over 9.5. We're taking Zinwan under 31.5, and then we're taking Kayusuki under 35.5. That's going to be the slip. I could probably add. I could add this to the. If I can, that would be really nice. Let me do this again. Uncheck them and then check them again, because I put 50 on this bad boy, and add parlay to Bet Tracker. There we go. It's nice. Okay. I will say this, guys. I normally don't track my DFS slips on OddsJam. I just let Pickett do that. It's a little easier for Pickett because, honest, guys, one of the biggest reasons I don't track my DFS for OddsJam is because I don't want, if I'm doing 5 and 6 leg parlays and I'm ripping through a bunch of them, I don't want to sit there and click each one. So I just let Pickett sink when it comes to that. That's kind of how I go about it. If we're looking at some better slips, and if we wanted to go like 2 minimum data points, then this is where you're going to get some different opinions here. I can't play collegiate player props for better, but if you can, here you go. It's available here. It's something I can use out in AZ. If you wanted to get a little bit more refined, see, but I don't like this because there's no pinnacle odds. There's like one play that has FanDuel odds. So not really my favorite thing if I don't see any pinnacle or bet online. Like, I don't like these plays. I just don't want to play them. If we're looking at Fliff, and I want to go 3 minimum data points, then you're going to see that these are all really juicy odds. Again, if you don't want to bet minus 2,000 odds, then what you could do is say, hey, you know what? Maximum odds are going to be minus 200 plus 200. And then this is going to kind of give you an idea, right? Now you're getting money line Miami Dolphins. Actually, interesting. Dolphins are at minus 120 on Fliff. Pinnacle's at minus 129, and in my opinion, anytime that you can find a money line play for the NFL, it's 8 or 9 cents off the market, and it's 13 cents off to bet online, which is a sharp book here. Like, I kind of like this. Dolphins, Packers. Do I have any money in my Fliff account? I don't know. I don't know if I do. I don't think I do. I got $1.52, so that's not great. That's a problem. Not going to be able to do much there for $1.52 on Fliff, but I would put a half unit, 3/4 of a unit on this Dolphins money line play because I think there is a bit of EV on it, especially when all these books are, Fliff is 10 cents off. And again, guys, we're talking NFL money line plays here. Okay, so it's going to be a little different as we look at DraftKings pick 6, 3-pick entries. Money line plays, you're not going to see 20 cents of difference on a money line play for the NFL on a Friday. It's just not going to happen. It's the most popular sport in America, so you're not going to see those types of differences. So for money lines, spreads, and totals on main line plays, if you can find an 8-9 cent difference or more between the book that you're receiving the odds compared to Pinnacle's odds, that's always a play that I'd be very interested in betting. There you go, Irish. Nice to hear that you hit Alex on the pick 6. Richard, happy Friday to you as well. Appreciate that, Matt, on the Bryce Miller. Yeah, Bryce Miller cashed the over 5.5 strikeouts before the end of the 3rd inning, which is always nice to see. So if you guys didn't know, take a look. If you want to see the breakdown and like what I'm talking about, probably somewhere halfway, just go to yesterday's stream, go on my YouTube page, go to live, go to yesterday's stream, fast forward till probably the last 20 minutes or so. You'll be able to find the exact play and see why. I did take some time on that play, but see why I liked it. So if you're looking at Josh Allen on his passing completions, Pinnacle's at 30.5 at -115. We're getting 31.5 for an extra 7 cents that we have to pay the price. But honestly, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with this on pick 6. Same thing here with Flacco, passing completions, no Pinnacle line, so I have less confidence in that. But Patty Mahomes, we're seeing that this is at -132. We're getting this at -122. FanDuel's at -138. So I would go with Josh Allen. I'd go with Patrick Mahomes. And then I would say, if you guys can add collegiate props, great. If I can move this off the bet tracker, that'd be great. This is kind of annoying. If I go down to Amon-Ra, St. Brown, or Bijan, or any of these dudes, 5.5 receptions. Again, this is 10 cents off to FanDuel. This is 8 cents off. I would rather go with Bijan over on his catches. It's -150 on Pinnacle. It's -130 on FanDuel. It's -122 on DraftKings. I like that a lot more. So that would be the 3-pick slip. Josh Allen, Patty Mahomes, and Bijan. That's what I would go with. And so what I'm going to do is log in on my phone over here for pick 6, and I'm going to hit this play up at the moment. So we're taking Josh Allen under passing attempts, Patrick Mahomes under on passing attempts, and then Bijan over on catches. And I'm going to put probably a 50 spot on here. Passing completions. Where the hell's this at? There we go. And then, so I'm just using this on my phone, guys. Obviously, I've had a DraftKings account to my name before in the past, and that one's pretty much toast. But we're going with the passing attempts on Patty Mahomes. They're only letting us bet the over right now, or we can't. Oh, there we go. Never mind. We can bet this. Okay, great. And actually, I have a bunch of $10 bonus bets. So I'm just going to throw this as a $10 bonus bet, which is cool for pick 6. Again, guys, I like to see, I'm not really interested in variance, so I'll add that to the parlay tracker. Cool. There we go. And I can kind of clear this out. So that's how we would rock. That would be my 3-pick entry over on pick 6, which I do like playing some pick 6 from time to time. Let's look at parlay play, and then we're going to move on from this. Parlay play, not so much. I'd say my favorite type of slip to play on parlay play is 4-man entries, 4-man all-ins. Those are my favorite. They've been very, very successful for me. And again, if you guys, we talked about this before. One of my favorite things to use is the Larry model, guys. It's really been a lot of fun for me when it comes to betting it. So hopefully you guys were able to tail this play that we gave out on parlay play earlier in the week for the stream. But I like playing 4-man slips, right? Hit for $730. And then I hit another one. Where is it? I hit this one as well, thanks to the Larry model. This is for $540. I like to play a lot of 4-man entries. And so you guys can see if I hit on this slip for $540, but I lose this one and I lose this one, you can tell that these are all like $50 slips, like I'm still massively up overall, even though I'm losing some slips for 75 or 50 or $10, right? So I'm going to lose more slips than I win, right? I only won 2 entries. I lost 10, but I made almost $1,300, right? So I'm up $809 in profit on 12 entries placed, right? So I'm going to lose more slips than I win, but the ones that I win, I'm getting paid out a lot of money, right? And so if you guys want to check that out, like I mentioned before in the past, the Juice Bets Discord, one of my favorites, and the Larry model is VIP, but I really, really like it. And there you go. Yeah, appreciate that, Irish. So there we go. Let's take a look at some arbitrage plays now, right? But you're going to get a 3-day free day trial to their Discord, which is very profitable. And then if you want to try the Larry model, it's VIP. But that's where I find a lot of my esports plays. I pair that up with OddsJam's Optimizer. It's kind of my power for success. I understand you guys might not have unlimited funds to use different things, but if you're really big into esports, that's where the Larry model really shines. They don't give you NFL or NBA or MLB props. It's just esports, but it's a nice way to kind of, mask your sharpness, in my opinion. And I've had a lot of success over at Parlay Play, PrizePicks, Underdog. So, all right, let's take a look at some arbitrage plays where you can just day trade these books. Now, obviously, we're live streaming this really early in the morning, so be careful when you're going after certain plays, right? Trevor Rogers, bookmaker in Desert Diamond. If you have a Hard Rock account and you have a bookmaker account, I would rather play this over on Trevor Rogers over at bookmaker. Why? Because bookmaker is not going to limit you nearly as fast, if at all, like Hard Rock will. Hard Rock will limit you really quickly, right? So I'd rather play this on either FanDuel or I'd rather play this on bookmaker. Now you can hit this up on Sports Zeno or you can hit this up on Desert Diamond. But again, the first pitch is not for like another 8 or 9 hours. So this is going to just depend on what you want out of sports betting. And also, what do you have going on in your schedule? If you can wait closer to first pitch, this play is probably not going to be there anymore. But you're going to find other plays that are going to pop up and you're going to be able to smash. But this outside of this Trevor Rogers play, there's some other plays that you can go and hit. But ideally, guys, I'm not betting too much of this, right? Now, for soccer, this is Estonia soccer. Okay, so like something else that I want to make mention, okay? Anytime that I say that you can find an arb to pinnacle, so right here on this soccer match, this is an arb to pinnacle, right? Where you can arb with pinnacle and bet rivers and make really good money on this soccer match. But there's a couple problems with this play. Number one, Pinnacle's taking a max wager of $150 on this play. That's not really good. That's not good. Also, while this match starts in about 3 hours or so, Pinnacle's only taking $150. That's not a lot of confidence compared to if Pinnacle was going to take $10,000. Then that's a lot of confidence, right? So if you were like, if we were, and this is the same thing as I was like, hey man, like we're watching a football game and I'm like, you know what? They're going to score a touchdown on this drive. And you're like, I'll bet you that. And I'm like, well, I'll bet you $5 compared to I'll say, you know what? I'll bet you $5,000, right? There's different level of confidence in my prediction if I'm going to bet more, if I'm offering to bet you more money compared to less. So the fact that Pinnacle's only taking $150 is not a lot of money. Okay. Second off, how many casual sports bettors are betting an Estonia soccer league on an under? Okay. Think about this. How many of your buddies are logging in this morning on a Friday to bet the under on Estonia soccer? Not many. So don't bet this. Don't bet this straight up. It's an arb to Pinnacle. It's a decent bet, okay? Pinnacle's not taking a lot of money on this play. I don't know how good it is. Don't bet this, though, okay? Everyone throws their hands up, and I get comments like, yeah, but I got limited. There's, you're going to get limited by these sports books, but if this is one of like the dead red giveaways that just don't bet this at all. Let this play go. Don't mess around with it. It's awesome that OddsJam shows it, but if you're limited on bet rivers, then go bet this. If you're not limited, don't bet this, right? It's pretty simple. If you're limited, bet it. If you're not limited, don't bet it. But this is some different ways that you can day trade the books, right? Again, Euro basketball, it's bigger. It's FIBA. I don't know how many people are betting this. It's tough to say, right? Tough to say. So just some little tips and tricks there. That would be my recommendation. If you want to focus just on live arbs, all about live arbs. There's a lot of women's tennis going on right now. So one of my favorite things to do with live arbs is this. I click the play button and I just chill out. I click the play button and I just watch for like a couple minutes. And I'm asking myself, okay, well, obviously Onyx and DraftKings aren't going to show the same odds. So let me get rid of Onyx, right? Because we know that Onyx for live, sometimes they're viable, sometimes they're not. Okay, so that's fine. So, but again, I'm just going to watch this. Are there certain books that I see pop up on the live arbitrage page that are pairing together? And maybe some are, maybe not. Maybe some of it's random, right? What's going on, Rick? Orty, how do I determine my bet size on parlay play? It's a good question. I just flat bet it. Just flat bet. That's all. There's really no Ramo. The pick six play was Bijan over 3.5 catches. Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes under on their passing attempts. 3-leg slip. Yeah, I just flat bet that, Orty. I don't really do much bet sizing when it comes to it. I keep it pretty simple, and I normally like to bet typical numbers that casuals will bet. So, bet $10 or bet 25 or just bet 50, and I just flat bet it for the most part. Every now and then, maybe I'll go a little like a $5 or $10 higher, but I just flat bet. So that's the one thing, right? We're just taking a look at what's going on. We got some soccer. We got some, I don't know what CPBL is. You guys can tell me what that is. I'm not really sure, right? We got some maybe Chinese baseball, some Super League. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to say, all right, what's popping off? And I'm going to say, you know what? All right, I'm just going to focus on maybe I'm just going to focus on men's tennis. So I'm just going to come down here and I'm going to clear out everything. And then I'm just going to scroll down to tennis and I'm just going to bet ATP. And we're going to clear this out. And I want a minimum of 3%. And market's going to be for today. And then we're going to show the results. And so now I know I'm in for men's tennis. And if I don't see enough for men's tennis, then I'll just go to women's tennis, right? But I'm not trying to bet all these different leagues all at once. I'm just really going to focus on one league. And if after a couple of minutes, because the play button's on, if I don't see plays pop up, then I'll just switch over to women's tennis. Or maybe I'll just switch to Chinese baseball. But I'll probably just switch to women's tennis. And that's kind of how I like to use the arbitrage tool when it comes to live betting, right? If you're new to this, understand that live betting is just a completely different animal, right? A lot of people are going to, their main complaints are going to be like, well, it moves really fast. I'm going to be like, yeah, it does. It does move fast. You need to adjust to the speed, okay? That's what you need to do. It's going to move fast. That's the way it is. You have to understand that. You have to have a different level of patience with live betting. It is different. Okay. It's like, if I don't have kids, but I would imagine it's like if you have a kid that's my age, that's almost 37 compared to a newborn, right? You can have less patience with me because I should know better. But with a newborn, you have to have a lot of patience. So treat live betting like a newborn. You got to have a lot of patience with live betting. It's going to be a wild ride. All right, so let's take a look at some player home runs. And then we'll look at some UFC fights. We'll kind of do the regular game, but we'll also look at some anytime touchdown scores, because this would be the time that I like to get in some anytime touchdown scores as well. Markets, let's clear this all out. Again, guys, if you want to try OGM 1 week for free, save 35% off your first month. Use code Billy35. And when you talk to the customer service team, you talk to Randall or whoever you talk to, the fine folks, let them know that you want Platinum 1 week for free. And tell them that I told you you could get it 1 week for free. And they will honor your request. They will do that. Let's go to Pinnacle. Let's go to Additive. And right now off the hop, we're already seeing that there aren't any results. Now, again, it's early in the morning, right? So when you come over to Pinnacle.com, you don't have to have an account. You can just go over to Pinnacle.com. So instead of saying, Billy, I don't understand. Like, why is there no plays going on right now? Like, why is there no home run plays popping up? Well, if you're DVigging to Pinnacle, you should probably go over to Pinnacle's website and take a look to see if they have odds up and ready to go for this. And while we wait for Pinnacle to load, I'll pull this off to the side. If we don't see that, right, we don't see any odds. You can see down here shows 0. So let's come over to Odds Jams results, okay? And then I'll come over to here, and while I'm waiting for Pinnacle's site to load, which is taking much longer than I thought it would, we'll come over to Ballpark Pal. But if Pinnacle doesn't have odds set for plays yet, and you're devigging to Pinnacle, that's why there aren't any odds. So just go over to Pinnacle's website and take a look. Go over to the Major League Baseball games and take a look to see if they have anything at all. Why is this not loading? There it is. So if I come over to Pinnacle, okay, and I click dismiss, you can see like I'm not logged in. And I'll just go down to baseball, and then I'll just look at the first game, Cubs-Rays. When I click over this plus 21 and I click this more button, if you don't see player props here, which I don't, then they're not available. They're not available. They just have the main lines, right? So this is all the markets right now the Pinnacle's offering. So they haven't set the odds yet for player props. So this might be a time that we maybe don't want to bet player home runs. But for the stream's sake, if you run into that, so there's not that there's anything wrong with the software. We're just waiting for Pinnacle to drop their lines. We're going to go after the A's and the Reds. We're going after the Royals and the Phillies. And, you know, if you see a play that's for the Braves or the Mariners or the Mets, Padres, the Brewers, the Blue Jays, the Twins, the Nationals would be the next best. That's okay. But I'm really just focused on the A's and the Phillies because you can see that there's really good home run hitting conditions. And it's typically the same ballparks that show up, but it depends on the weather. Ballpark Pal is going to give you a really good breakdown, and this is why in Sacramento, usual hitter-friendly forecast is going to be 80 degrees, double-digit wind blowing out to center. So minor league venue has been one of the top parks for home runs this season due largely to how impactful the typical out-blowing wind has been. So there we go, right? You want to look at air pressure. They're going to give you that. They're going to give you wind. They're going to tell you a bunch of stuff. So all I'm in, and look at this, top play of the day, Ellie De La Cruz over on BetMGM. This is at plus 650 odds. So you're getting an insane price over on BetMGM. And then we're factoring in that the hitting conditions are excellent in Sacramento. This would be my top play of the day. Now, I'm not putting like 10 units on this play. I'd put a unit on this play. That's what I would do. Why? Because the fair odds is about 15.5%. Now, we don't have Pinnacle's odds yet, but I could tell you that this is a very good outlier. If you can get odds above plus 548, I'm interested. So Hard Rock, slightly edge, small edge. Fanatics, a little bit higher of an edge, right? If you have any kind of boost that you can throw onto this, but this is really just a BetMGM play. So the account that I have with BetMGM, I'm very limited on, but this Ellie De La Cruz play would be my favorite, okay? Novelvi Marte over here on Bovada. Now, I'm okay with smashing this over at Bovada. Again, A's and the Reds. So you can just come up here to the search. You could type in the Reds, and you could see the top plays. Austin Hayes and Marte. So I'm going to log on over to Bovada, and I'm going to go bet these on Bovada. Well, Irish, that's okay. If it's not DVig to Pinnacle, that's okay. But, you know, I'm not going to really recommend any plays for home runs that are, you know, not advantageous hitting conditions, right? And remember, where did Nick Kurtz hit his home run a couple days ago against the Red Sox? In Sacramento. Where are we looking to place some bets right now? In Sacramento. So it's going to be it's one of the best parks that you want to go after because it's just really good hitting conditions. That's all. Now, this game's not until 7 o'clock tonight, right? So, you know, we talk about like account health and longevity. This isn't going to be advantageous to go over and bet this on Bovada, but, you know, I mean, it's all right. Now, I can't showcase me actually placing the bets on Bovada because it's not great. Austin Hayes also. I don't mind Austin Hayes. So we're going to put this down for, I don't know what the max wager is at the moment. Oh, yeah, they're letting me bet like a lot of money over there. So I'm going to put this down for $125 on Austin Hayes. So there's the first one. I just like 125 a little bit more. And then Marte. And I'm not going to probably bet $170, but I'll take this down. They're telling me 150. I'll put a 125 kind of for both. Kind of a flat bet. So remember, guys, I just placed 2 bets for a grand total of $250. Okay? If one of these bets hits, I'm making $750, right? So all I need is one of these to hit, and I'm bringing back a profit of $500. So that's kind of how it goes when it comes to betting home runs. Maybe I should have bet a little bit more on Marte. Both of these might lose because they're both just around a 16% chance of hitting. But if it turns out to be like a 9-7 ball game tonight, it's going to be really, really good. Let's take a look at the Phillies. So, yeah, I mean, Salvador Perez is the only top play right now, and it barely has an edge. And this is not devigging the Pinnacle. So if you want to wait until Pinnacle drops their lines, that's fine. I would really just focus on the Phillies game and on the Reds game because that's the 2 best parks. It's not even close weather-wise compared to all the other parks in terms of hitting home runs. And then we just move on. All right, so we're going to look at some player touchdowns. Speaking of long shot plays. Now, these home run plays are longer shots compared to what we're about to bet right now. And we're going to go to worst case. I feel that if you're betting the plus 500s, plus 300s, plus 600s, additive does the best job of appropriately putting the correct amount of EV edge on a play, right? It's like if you were going to get something appraised and you knew that someone really specialized in the item that you're looking to get appraised, that's where additive comes in. But we're going to stick to worst case for this because for betting player or for NFL touchdowns, let me clear this out. We're going to go with like a minus 200 to a plus 200. Okay. If you want to go higher than that, that's fine for betting player touchdowns. I'm cool with that. But this is where we're going to stick it. So if you don't want to, if you're not maybe as excited about betting, long shot plays like that with home runs, then you're going to find that maybe touchdowns, player touchdowns is more your cup of tea. I made a video in the past, guys. It used to be anytime touchdowns, just player touchdowns. And then the date range, we can set this up for just Sunday, right? If I just want to look for Sunday, because that's only when the NFL is going to be going on, or Sunday and Monday. Okay, we could do that as well. Let's take a look. All right, Jalen Hurts over on a touchdown. Tush push. This is really good at Pinnacle. This is 28 cents off. Fanatics, DraftKings, Onyx. Don't need to overthink it. I'm going to Onyx. Betting $230. How much do I got in the account? I only got $117. That kind of breaks my heart to know that I only have $117. But that's fine. I really like this. Now, the only thing I would say is, guys, with Platinum, you can kind of click in to the play and see the historical line movement. Pinnacle moved, but they moved like 10, 12 hours ago, but they're kind of steadfast in where their lines are. That's actually a very big indicator right here. Let me stop the presses for a second. DraftKings is really, really moved in a lot in one direction. Normally, this is something that I would really pay attention to, like quite often. Now, this game is not until Sunday, and it's in the 4 o'clock Eastern slate of games. So that's kind of concerning. But again, if DraftKings and Fanatics are aligned here, I'm still okay with going after this. Understand if you don't want to bet this, guys. But again, Jalen Hurts, I'm okay with it. Because if you know if the Eagles get around the 1 yard line or 2 yard line, they might just go back-to-back tush pushes. So where's this at? Okay. So we're going to go ahead and showcase this because I am very transparent when I place my bets. Whoa. My bad, guys. My bad. Wrong monitor. How about this one? There we go. Hopefully you guys can see that. Okay. So I'll just put 115 on this. Try it again. If you get that, it happens. No problem. Jalen Hurts anytime TD. Minus 110. Sometimes it takes a minute, but it should go through. Okay. We're in. 115 on Jalen Hurts for a tush push. Nice. Shout out to Onyx. They ran a nice little promo last night. Didn't hit. But it was a nice little promo. There we go. MP, I'm doing really well, man. Appreciate you asking. Rick, what's going on? Good morning. MT, hey, Billy, do you use Bet Rivers as a sharp book for soccer? MT, I do for player props. It's a good question. I do for player props. But, if you're kind of referencing, if talking about that Estonia play, I don't think there's really, if Pinnacle's like taking a wager under $500 on main lines, it's tough for me to really have a lot of confidence with Pinnacle. That's where I feel like you could beat Pinnacle. So, like, if you maybe have some insights, you watch a lot of soccer, you watch a certain league, that's where you might be able to beat Pinnacle at their own game. Lamar over on a touchdown. DraftKings Onyx or Props Builder, which I'm going to go over to Props Builder because I'm out of money on Onyx. Lamar to get a touchdown against Cleveland. Let's take a look at this one. Again, DraftKings is doing a lot of movement, but I still trust in Pinnacle's line. I really do. Props Builder is moving up a little bit. Again, guys, since I'm already logged into Bovada, Bovada also has Props Builder, just like a lot of global books outside of Rebet. They're telling me to bet $110 on this play. I'll just make it a flat $100. And let me go to touchdowns. And then we'll go to Lamar. Lamar cashed week 1, which was nice. I bet on Lamar week 1 to score a touchdown on the stream, which was cool. It's actually a plus 179, which is fine. But then they're paying us out at return at $280, so it's really plus 180. Interesting. But we'll put this in on Props Builder. So, again, another book that you can go ahead and grab this if you want. Lamar, anytime touchdown. So, we're on the quarterbacks right now, Hurts and Lamar. Ladd McConkey, Monday Night Football. There's 2 Monday Night Football games, guys, this week, which is always different. Again, you're seeing some value on DraftKings and Props Builder. Normally, last year, it was FanDuel that was showing the value. But, again, I'll bet it wherever. It doesn't really matter to me too much on this. But we're seeing that DraftKings is moving a decent amount. But Pinnacle's moved quite a bit. They've moved quite a bit. They were at a 130 to a 136, which is fine. Ladd McConkey. Love seeing this, guys. If this is available on Props Builder, this gives me some confidence. So we'll look at Ladd McConkey to get in the end zone. Again, I'll just flat bet this for $100 or $110. It's a Monday Night Football game, but I'm all right with betting this. At plus 150 odds. If you wait until Monday Night Football, I doubt you're going to be able to get this price. So there we go. $100 on McConkey. Using the OddsJam Bet Tracker. Been using this for 4 years now. It's been really, really good to me. Chase Brown to score a touchdown. 34 cents off. This is ESPN Bet. That's nice. Chase Brown, Jaguars, Bengals. Yeah. Compared to Pinnacle says this is at plus 130. So this is wildly. It's 30 cents off to FanDuel. It's 34 cents off to Pinnacle. If you have ESPN Bet, I would bet this, play it with Chase Brown. So we're just kind of going through some anytime touchdown scores right now. Obviously, minus 140, I think a lot of guys can get comfortable betting. But the plus 150s aren't all that crazy of a long shot, right? We're talking 40% chance, 37% chance with Lamar. I'm definitely in on that. Okay. Let's look at some UFC fights. One of my favorite books this upcoming weekend. Let's look at Saturday through Sunday because I think it's a Saturday fight. Is BetOnline. BetOnline is one of my favorites when it comes to betting the UFC. One of my favorites. So where's MMA? There they are. And then the markets, I normally like to bet main markets. Not going to lie. It's kind of my favorite things to bet. Let's take a look at the results. All right, so we're using BetOnline as our sharp. So normally for the UFC guys, I'm betting money lines and I'm betting total rounds. Those are my two, there's other markets, but I'm betting those two things, okay? So over here, is there anything that's similar to the under 150? To minus plus 145. Not so much. So I'm going to bypass the circuit play unless you live in Illinois. If you live in Illinois, I'm okay with this, okay? Even though Circa is a fairly sharp book. So Puelas over on No Vig. Obviously, the other sharp books. Now, Pinnacle's taking $3,000 here. So obviously, I have a little more confidence. But BetOnline is at minus 125. Okay. And if I log into BetOnline right now, I could tell you how much money they're taking on Pujols. And I've been using BetOnline, guys, just so you know, like I've been using my personal BetOnline account for 4 years. So when we talk about these sharp books, I might be limited a bit on Props Builder. I can still get down roughly $100 profit on Props Builder. But like for the main lines, I can get down really whatever I want. So if we're looking for UFC, let me take a look at this. It's Noche, UFC Noche. And I'm looking at Pujols. And if I wanted to max bet this over on BetOnline, they are taking $25,000 on my account. And I don't feel like I've been losing money to BetOnline. So this is why I really prefer BetOnline over Pinnacle, because they're just taking a lot more money compared to the others. I'm just also curious what bookmaker would take in this spot. So I would bet this over at no vig. No doubt about that. Let's refresh the page here. Let me go to fighting, mixed martial arts. Just got a phone call. If we're looking at MMA and we're looking at Noche, Pujols, they're taking, bookmakers taking almost $6,000. So they're almost double the limit compared to Pinnacle. So I would not look at Pinnacle as a sharp when it comes to betting UFC. I'd look at BetOnline. I'd look at bookmaker. Over 2.5 rounds, Silva, Diego Lopes. This is the championship fight. Minus 175. So BetOnline has this at minus 175. We want to go after ESPN bet. Okay. I don't mind that. Over 2.5 rounds, minus 150. I like that. Chase Brown anytime touchdown. If you want to take Chase Brown anytime touchdown, pair that with this over 2.5, 2-leg parlay, you could do that. I don't know if I have any money in this ESPN bet account, because I have a lot of money tied up on the weekend games. Like we said, got about $8,000 currently tied up between tomorrow and Sunday. And I don't have a ton. So we'll just let that go, which kind of stinks. Moneyline play for David Martinez. Same thing. If bookmakers at plus 102, okay, I'd like to see bookmaker and BetOnline kind of aligned on this. If you have too many books that are showing right now, guys, what you can do is just kind of, decrease the noise. You can see this is BetOnline, okay? Bookmaker's been chilling for a minute, but I'll probably still just stay away from that because I'd like to see both these books lined up. Aguilar, Moneyline. Yeah, so this is what I mean by that. See where Pinnacle is and bookmaker and BetOnline is for Aguilar. You can get this at 185 over at no vig for $135. I really, really, really like that. I really like that a lot. Again, if I'm looking at this from any other rec books, maybe Ballybet. Obviously, it's just slightly above the plus 178, but no vig all day long. I like that play on Aguilar. Go grab that. Under 1.5 on the total rounds. Again, bookmaker and BetOnline not far off in price. This is a FanDuel bet, which I'm totally fine going after FanDuel on. So I'm going to log into FanDuel right now and look for this Dumas Reese play under 1.5 rounds. Which if it's under 1.5 rounds, that means somebody's getting knocked out, hopefully, which we never mind seeing that. Let me try again with my location. Okay. And they're telling me to bet $200. Okay. So if you guys don't know where to find this, Dumas and Reese, you're just going to come up here to the top right here, right? And you're just going to type in Dumas. And that's where you're going to find this. And then we're going to go to more wagers and then total rounds. And then it's the under 1.5. And max wagers $224 on my account. Bingo. Put my money where my mouth is. There it is. Under 1.5. So I like that. Put it in the bet tracker. It's just that simple, guys. Real simple. There it is. That's where I'd kind of pause there on the UFC fights. But I'm glad we got to kind of take a look at that. For those of you that are looking to bet the fights on Saturday night, should be a decent card. It's not like awesome, but Diego Lopes, I don't mind him. It'll be decent. Let's take a look at some. We didn't look at pitcher strikeouts yet. We can look at. Apologies, guys. My alarm just went off. Oh, it's my buddy. If my buddy Joe's watching, he's probably not. I forgot. My buddy Joe's birthday today. So, there we go. Let me just put on the do not disturb. All right, there we go. Let's take a look at where do we want to go next. Let's look at some. Let's look at some. We'll give one last kind of sneak peek into college football for maybe spreads, totals, money lines. We're going to use Bookmaker as our sharp because they just accept more money on a lot of plays. Main markets, custom date range. Yeah, let's look for Saturday. Let's look specifically for Saturday, and let's take a look to see what we find. Okay, so Wisconsin at plus 20.5 at plus 110 odds. To be honest, this is a very key number. I bet Wisconsin at plus 21.5. And you can see my closing line value is not looking too good. I also bet the under, which that looks pretty good. You can see I bet these on Tuesday evening, right? Peep the time when I placed my bets, okay? So 20 is still a somewhat key number in football. 21.5 is a bit more ideal. But compared to Bookmaker, this is a bit better of a play. Now, again, if I'm taking a look at, they're saying Pinnacle's got $2,000 max when it comes to what they're taking. This is, these are two big schools. It's not like we're talking about small schools. If I look at Bookmaker right now, though, Bookmaker is taking almost $11,000 on this. So the reason that we're using Bookmaker, guys, as our sharp, Pinnacle, if you guys can't see this, Pinnacle is taking a max of $2,000. That's what OddsGM's telling us in liquidity. Bookmaker's taking $10,800 for their liquidity. So if I'm a professional sports bettor and I'm looking to get some money down on certain college football games, I can get 5 times as much money over betting this over at Bookmaker compared to Pinnacle. So I wouldn't go over to Pinnacle and bet this. I'd go over to Bookmaker. Also, as we mentioned at the beginning of this stream, when these books are accepting higher amounts of money for a bet, they have more confidence in their lines. So getting this is not a bad play on FanDuel. It's actually not. It's something that I normally don't like to double dip, but this is pretty good. It's not bad. But I'm just going to keep it as is with my over 21.5. So again, if you're seeing Bet 105, like there's $4,000 here, Texas State, Arizona State. Let me type this into, and again, you have to have an account. You have to have an account with BetOnline and Bookmaker to kind of see, what they're flashing. Bookmaker has this obviously basically a minus 110. They're taking $11,000. Pinnacle's taking $4,000. So if you have a Bet 105 account, I'm betting this over at Bet 105 all day long. Now I can jump into the line movement here and see what's what and see the Pinnacle's really moving. But you can see that Bookmaker just moved in the opposite direction ever so slightly, right? But, okay. So this is also a key number. So I kind of like that. I don't know if I have any Bet 105 money. I do, because I hit the Mackenzie Gore play. So as much as I love my Arizona State Sun Devils, because I'm adopting them as kind of my team out here, my college football team, I'd say ASU, I'm going to take Texas State. Plus 17. Because Bookmaker's taking $11,000 compared to $4,000 with Pinnacle. Okay, so this is where I'd go after this. So if you guys don't know, you can take, you can take this. Bet 105 is one of my favorite books to go after. They're telling me to bet $200. I'm going to bet the full $200 here. If you guys use code BILLYC when you sign up with Bet 105, if you deposit $100, you're going to get a $50 free bet. It's a 1x rollover. I mean, you have to wager your $100 and your $50, so $150 through one time. Bingo. There we go. So I just grabbed this over here on Bet 105. I'm not afraid to bet into Pinnacle sometimes, guys, and neither should you. I got this at plus 108 odds. I put my full $200 down. I'm out of money on Bet 105, but there we go. Right? So using Bookmaker as your sharp, here's another one where you can take the over on Washington State and North Texas. The one thing that I'm doing is if you have a Bookmaker account, I'm just checking to see what they're taking on these plays. So if I'm looking at Washington State, I'm looking at the over 58.5. So Bookmaker's taking $3,200 on this play. Pinnacle's taking $1,500, right? So Bookmaker might be the only one here. They're on the over. They're kind of sticking out like a sore thumb. This is where I want to look at the line movement and say, well, they're moving a little bit. They're moving just ever so slightly. compared to Pinnacle, right? So these are little things that you guys can do when we're looking at this if you have some global sports books. I still guess I have the UFC fight teed up. So we'll look at this Hernandez play as well. Well, I don't want to look at this compared to Bookmaker. So let me take the sport off, or leagues off. There we go. All right, so we talked about Wisconsin. Eastern Michigan and Kentucky. I'm on the over 45.5 at minus 105. Okay, now check this out, guys. We talk about betting early in the week. I'm going to, for those of you that are watching me, I appreciate you listening to me because I'm going to say this about 10 times on every stream. You bet early in the week, positive EV betting, more times than not. Not every time, but more times than not, it's going to work out in your favor. Tuesday, 8 o'clock, I bet the over 45.5 at minus 105. Guess what? This isn't the main line, but it's probably around 47.5, 48. I got like 2 points, 3 points difference now in CLV. Pinnacle and Bookmaker not too far off from one another. This might be a slightly alternate line. No, it's they got the main line of 48.5. They're taking $3,000. Bookmaker is. Where Pinnacle's only taking about $750, right? So start using Bookmaker as a sharp for college football because Bookmaker takes higher limits when it comes to betting, right? So if you're looking to bet the over 48.5, grab it. It's a good play. I already got my good line of 45.5. It's a field goal off, right? I got an extra field goal now that's given to me, but you can grab this over on FanDuel. Ohio at plus 28.5. I know they're playing against the Buckeyes, but this is a key number. It's a very key number here, plus 28.5. So again, don't mind that. I don't mind that. If you guys are using Polymarket, this is where I would definitely take a look to see because Florida Atlantic, not the biggest Florida Atlantic money line. Yeah, so they're taking $3,000. Polymarket's taking $1,100. I'm still fine with that. Pinnacle's taking $2K. I'm cool with getting this at a plus 122. Again, it's 9 cents off to Pinnacle, off to Circa, only 7 cents to Bet Online, but we're getting this way off to Bookmaker. I'm cool with taking this Florida Atlantic play. Hopefully, Irish, yeah, there you go, Irish. Love to hear that, bro. So hopefully you guys are kind of seeing how you want to use different sharp sports books, right? Find the sharp sports book that's taking the most money on a market. That's where the professional sports bettors are going to get their money in because professional sports bettors aren't really using a top-down approach. They have originators that are creating their own lines, and then the originator's model is spitting out a number. They're saying, yo, take Florida Atlantic. Anything that, Florida Atlantic should be priced at like minus 105. And they're like, yo, let's go bet Florida Atlantic then wherever we can, right? They're not really using a top-down approach. So they're trying to bet into the sharp books first because the sharp books are going to accept more money compared to the rec books. Remember, it's the whole reason why we use sharp books as our guide is because they accept higher liquidity compared to the rec books. And so if I'm a professional sports bettor with a $5 million bankroll, I am not going betting all my money over at Ballybet. I'm going to try to get in the most money down on a Bookmaker or a Circa or Bet Online, right? That's the idea behind this. So where else do we have this? The under 49.5 on this Ohio State game. I got the over 51.5. See? So now this one didn't work so well for me. I bet the over. Looks like there might be some value on the under right now. Right? So it doesn't always work out in your favor. Sometimes it does. Sometimes it doesn't. I bet the under 55.5 on Tulane and Duke. That worked out in my favor. I also bet Tulane money line over at Calshi. First bet over at Calshi. We'll see how that goes. And they're telling me to bet the over 52.5. So there's a legit middle opportunity here for me, right? Where I wouldn't exactly be able to get this at a great middle price because I bet it at minus 115. I can get this at plus 105. But there's something there. Bowling Green at plus 4.5. Plus 4.5 is kind of important, guys. 27-23, right? 17-13, 21-17. Plus 4.5 is an important number. Pinnacle's taking $4,000 on this play. And if I'm looking for taking Bowling Green right now, Bookmaker's taking almost $11,000. So I'd love to get some action over here over at ESPN Bet, taking this on the main lines, right? A lot of really good plays using Bookmaker. You can see we're still talking about some 2% edges according to Bookmaker, right? And when you see Pinnacle at the same, I love that. Vanderbilt on the money line. Okay, because Pinnacle and Bookmaker are really, they're kind of similar here. Where's this at? Every game, BetDSI. This is obviously SEC football, guys. They're taking $5,000 on this, $3,000. I'm going to go over to BetDSI, assuming this is still a good price, and I am going to try to bet this. Honestly, I'm going to bet it on my phone because BetDSI with the desktop version, it's a little wonky, but I'm going to bet this Vanderbilt play. Whenever I see an interesting book, again, global sports books, guys, all three of these books are global sports books that I think are very well worth having accounts with. If you're looking to expand your profitable betting opportunities, then you should be going after and getting global sports books like a BetOnline, like an Every Game, like a BetDSI. And so this is a 4:45 game, Vanderbilt in South Carolina. Okay. I'm just scrolling here on my phone. I'm not going to showcase this on my phone, guys, just because it is, yep, it's still out there because it is a global book. They're telling me to bet $80. I have a little bit more confidence in that, but I'll just throw $100 on Vanderbilt, and then we'll throw this in the bet tracker. So college football, taking a look at that. Let's take a look at some NFL main lines. This would pretty much be, guys, the last day that I would look to bet money line spreads and totals for college football or the NFL. This would be it. So what do we got here? Date range, obviously, we're going to want to set this to Sunday and to Monday. And let's take a look at this. Bears on the money line. First half money line. Sorry. First half money lines. Okay. What else do we have outside of first half money lines? Chiefs on the money line. Interesting. Pinnacle's taking $10K on the Chiefs. How much is Bookmaker taking right now? Interesting. Okay, so this is a little different scenario here where Bookmaker's only taking $5,100 on the Chiefs. Pinnacle's taking $10K. So this is where we're going to want to change our sharp book, right? We're not going to want to go after this. Now, if we're looking at first half money line too, I'm interested to see Pinnacle's taking $500. Just, I'm kind of, this is a little bit of me figuring out on at the same time, like, oh, okay, well, let's look at the first half money line. How much are they taking for the Bears? So interestingly enough, this is wild. So for first half money line, Bookmaker's taking $3,000 on the Bears. Okay. So for money line plays, you would want to use Pinnacle as your sharp. But for first half money line plays, you're going to want to use Bookmaker because Pinnacle's only taking $500. You can bet $3,000 right now at this plus one. It's really plus 170 number. Meaning that I would go bet this over at bet 105 if they're offering it, and they are. Or I'd go bet this over at Bovada for the Bears first half money line. This is a very EV play. But if you want to really jump into the weeds of the sharp books and figure out what's what, simply stating, Bookmaker just they haven't moved a lot. So this is one of my least favorite types of bets. Because in general, the sharp books are here. But again, there's a really big difference in liquidity from Pinnacle. Now, I don't know Circa's limits for first half money line plays. If I was in Vegas, I'd walk over to Circa, take a look. I don't know. If someone's in Illinois and can tell me what the limits are for Circa, that would be massively helpful. Because if Circa's taking $3K, then I'm not as interested in this play with over at Bovada. But if Circa's taking $500 like Pinnacle, then I'm very interested in this play. If I go over to Bet Online and I look at the Bears and the Lions, first half money line. What's the max wager for the Bears? It's $500 on Bet Online. So $500 for Pinnacle, $500 for Bet Online. So I'm okay with doing that. That gives me a little bit more confidence. But Bookmaker's taking $3,000. And I'm making sure that I'm looking at this in the right spot all day long. So I'm going to throw a little sprinkle over here on Bovada. If I had money over at Bet 105, I would do that. Little sprinkle on the Bears. I'm going to throw $100 on the first half money line. It's just the first half money line. Again, if they're tied at halftime, that's fine. But I'm okay with this. We'll just throw that for $100. Okay. We'll see what that looks like. Okay. So if we're looking for first half money line plays, guys, obviously then the play would be to use Bookmaker. Because if I go back over here and I look at this Panthers game, Panthers and the Cardinals, you want to look at the Giants as well. If I look at either one of these, so if I look at Giants first half money line, they're taking $3,000. If I take a look at the Panther game against the Cardinals, obviously we're being recommended to bet the underdogs here. Yeah. They're taking $6,000 on the Cardinals first half money line. They're taking $3,000 on the Panthers. So this could be a spot where if you see, we know that there's $500 being accepted for Bet Online and for Pinnacle. So I don't really care about either of these books because I don't think they're very sharp because the limits are so low. I would say, yeah. Demo. So yeah, essentially demo. I have gotten multiple warnings over the last month about old live streams because I keep my live streams on my YouTube channel. So obviously global offshore books don't meet regulations in terms of here in the United States. So I've gotten multiple warnings. I would say I've gotten about 15 to 20 warnings from YouTube about content that I've posted related to gambling. And it's always been me showcasing me placing the bet on a global book. And with YouTube, you guys don't know, 3 strikes with YouTube and that's it. My channel's gone forever. So I haven't gotten a strike yet, but I've gotten enough warnings that they're going to give me a strike, and I am not getting a strike on my YouTube channel. So I'm not showcasing off. I'm not going to showcase me placing the bet on global books anymore because that's not going to happen. So I've gotten enough warnings that that's why you don't see any live streams. Not that anybody watches them, but you don't see any live streams from a year ago because I removed all the content because I'm not getting a strike on YouTube. So you can talk about it, but for me, I like to place bets on the global books like Bovada and Bookmaker and actually do it. And I'm just not even messing around with it anymore. So I can tell you guys what it is, but I'm not going to showcase those books on the main monitor anymore because it's just not worth me losing my YouTube channel. So I'm not doing it. But that's kind of what's going on there. So if we're looking at the Panthers here, I'm totally cool with going over here on FanDuel. Guys, with NFL betting, we'll look at some pitcher strikeouts then next. There's always going to be some crazy, you're always going to look at halftime. Scott Hansen for Red Zone is going to be like, and would you believe this? The Carolina Panthers are up 10 at half. This happens all the time betting the NFL. Give in to the fact that it's unpredictable. We're looking for the first half winner. That's what we're looking for. Plus 198. I only have $80 in my FanDuel account. So it's $250 is the max wager for me. So we'll bet the $80. There we go. Okay. There it is. There we go. All right, let's take a look at some pitcher strikeouts. So there's a couple different things, guys, I like to use when it comes to taking a look at what's what. Let's look at FanDuel. Let's look at worst case. Let's go over here and take a look at some pitcher Ks. Obviously, every now and then, the Bryce Miller play yesterday was kind of a different scenario. That was a different one that normally doesn't happen. Different scenario. Okay, so Sportzino, this might not be a real play. I would not bet this over at Sportzino. For anyone that does have Sportzino, it's a really easy book to beat. This is a mistake, okay? You can see that they didn't mean to set plus 115 for the under. They might have meant to set this at minus 115, but I would not play this on Sportzino. Do not. You're going to get limited immediately because they're going to see that it's a mistake. It's a palpable error. Don't mess around with it. Skubal, under on his strikeouts. Profit X, Bet River, or Canby Sportsbook. FanDuel and Bookmaker fairly aligned here, which is nice to see. Again, when you're looking at the historical lines here, this is all pretty much the same, right? It's all just different projections from the books. So we haven't seen a lot of movement in one direction. And if we're looking at, strikeouts over team rankings, the Marlins do a pretty good job. Now, Scooball is one of the best, if not the best pitchers in the game. Teamrankings.com, this is where I'm looking at everything going on. Marlins are at home. And as we mentioned before, the Marlins strike out 8th or 9th least amount in Major League Baseball. So betting this under, I don't mind getting that, right? You're getting plus odds. Only $135 over at ProfitX. I'm cool with that. I'll go over to Desert Diamond. Again, guys, if you don't want to bet this, I would bet this on ProfitX first compared to the Bet Rivers, because obviously this first pitch isn't for quite some time. So me betting an under on a pitcher strikeout doesn't look very good. But I know I'm going to get limited on this Desert Diamond account eventually. That's okay, because I have some other accounts ready to go that can be related. So I'm totally fine going after this. And if I'm looking at pitcher props, let me pull this up. So again, we hit a big one up the other day. If you guys want to see some of the other bets that I'm on, you want to tail them, they're really only for Canby related only. So we're looking at the under 7.5. It's actually a plus 110. Oh man, this is going to be a huge bet. If it's at plus 110, oh boy, that's a big, big, big bet. Okay, so they're probably going to have at some point, they're going to stop letting me betting what I want to bet. But we're going to bet $325 if they'll let me do it. This. By the way, I just want you guys to know, this is most likely the bet that is going to get my account limited. I already know that, but at least I'm going to make some money off of it. There we go. I'm pre-approved for $265. So instead of pushing this bet through to approval, all I'm going to do is go $265. That's the one nice thing about Canby. They will tell you beforehand. So I'll get this for just under what the max wager is, right? I'm not going to push it to the limit. I'm just going to take it for $265, right? So there we go. We get this over at Desert Diamond. I'm very happy about that for $265. And there it is. Bingo. Okay. There we go, Ron. Nice to hear that. Yeah, Orty, especially Sports Zeno. Sports Zeno is a really, 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 really easy sports book to beat. Don't go after the errors, okay? Because what's most likely, and this is kind of a unit shame, okay? But here's how most people get limited. You guys are betting smaller amounts. Maybe some of you guys are, hopefully a lot of you guys on the stream are betting way more than I am. But, you're betting smaller amounts, and then you come across this and your eyes light up. And it's like, just stick to the plays that are within a 3 to 10% EV range, and you're going to have a great time with Sports Zeno. But if you're betting $10 and you're betting into that line, that's going to get your account nuked really quick. And it's a great book that can build your bankroll. Giolito, Yankees, Red Sox. What do we got? So Yankees are on the road. Obviously, these teams have seen each other. But again, the Yankees strike out the 4th most in Major League Baseball on the road. In fact, Boston and the Yankees are number 3 and number 4 striking out on the road. The Red Sox just typically strike out a lot. It's typically the Rockies, the Angels, and the Red Sox that are always at the top of the leaderboard in terms of striking out the most. So that's what I would do. So Giolito, I don't mind betting this at all. Bookmaker and FanDuel are very closely aligned on their odds. It's plus odds on no vig. Again, that's the beauty of the exchanges. If you can grab this on Sports Zeno, I don't mind betting this if you can get this at ProfitX, I don't mind betting this at ProfitX. Again, guys, $165 in liquidity. I don't think a professional sports bettor is trying to dangle a carrot out there to try to lure you in. I totally would go after that. Sandy, on the flip side, on the opposite side, the Tigers. Tigers, they're like top 10 striking out a little bit more than others. So, we're looking to bet the under over on, this is probably a stale line, by the way. They copy DraftKings, so we can move off of this. This is one thing, guys, if you don't know yet with Onyx, they're a small book. They're not quick to adjust. So if DraftKings is at minus 147, they copy DraftKings odds. So when you go to submit this bet, it's going to say, oh, it's not minus 122 anymore. It's minus 147. So I'll just hide that bet because I don't want to see it. Okay, Matthew Boyd, back at it again with the, again, if Onyx is showing plus 117, it's most likely minus 110. Matthew Boyd, Rays and the Cubs. Boyd pitches for the Cubs. Rays are on the road. We're looking at the under here. Tampa is average. They're probably, they strike out the 12th most on the road, so they're not top 10, but they're in maybe the slightly above average. So let's look into some, bookmakers at plus 105, FanDuel's at minus 104. Yeah, I'm not like really excited about this. Like the school ball play, I really liked. This one, not as much. I don't really like it as much, so I'm just not going to mess around with that. Brenna Fott, Twins Diamondbacks. Twins are at home. Yeah, Twins are literally like smack dab in the middle of Major League Baseball for strikeouts. So this under 4.5, again, $230 liquidity. Circa, Bookmaker, and FanDuel are all aligned here. That's where I would like this. That's where I would say, okay, I'd go after this play. Just because some of these sharp books are all similarly priced. That provides some confidence for me. So no VIG. Yeah, I don't mind going after this. I would say I put a half unit on this Brennan Fott play. Pirates Nationals. Pirates do strike out a bit more. Yeah, Pirates strike out the 5th most on the road. So this under on Brad Lord, I don't want to mess around with that. And these two are probably too low EV edge for me to really consider. Look, Jonah Tong. Don't know who this dude pitches for. I'm going to take a guess and say he pitches for the Rangers. Survey says. No, he pitches for the Mets. Stay hot, Billy. Stay hot. So Texas is on the road. And Texas strikes out the 8th least amount in Major League Baseball. Now, these two teams don't play each other a lot. So it's not like the Rangers have seen a lot of Jonah Tong. But again, there's only $20 over at No Vig. I'd just go bet that. And I'd bet it also at ProfitX for $54. I don't mind that. Okay. Hopefully that kind of gives you guys an idea. The Matthew Boyd play is really on the edge for me. Just probably not going to do it. Not going to do it. Anything else that's new? Not much. Luis Castillo. We know the Angels strike out a lot, guys, right? Remember yesterday, Bryce Miller went after them. Angels on the road strike out the most now in Major League Baseball. They are tied with the Rockies for striking out the most in Major League Baseball. So Luis Castillo over 6.5 strikeouts. I definitely like that. Betting overs on Angels batters to strike out. Oh, yeah. All season long. It's normally going to be a really good ride for you. I bet this over. And again, if you're seeing this and you see that there's only $46 of liquidity, remember, on No Vig and ProfitX, you can create your own markets. So go over to ProfitX and say, you know what, dude, I'm going to go set a price up because, right, whatever you offer on, whatever you're trying to bet on the over, you're going to offer that on the under. So what do I mean by that? If you create a market over on ProfitX, and I should be able to go over to ProfitX and maybe throw this up. Let me double check this. Because I don't know if they're going to let me create a bet. They probably won't. But I'm going to log into ProfitX because obviously I can't use it in Arizona, for those of you that don't know. And I'll allow it. And yeah, that's fine. If you can go ahead and create a wager, which, yeah, they're not letting me do, which is fine. But if you want to bet this, so let's say offer the under at plus 123 odds, right? On the under 6.5. Meaning you're going to get this at minus 123 on the over. After you pay your little juice to ProfitX, you're going to probably get this at minus 126 payout. But again, offer the under at plus 123. You're going to automatically then show the best number on the over, right? You're going to show the best number on the under. Someone might go ahead and bet that under for you. But now you're going to get filled at minus 123 on the over, which is a really good price. So again, get creative with the exchanges. If you have access to ProfitX and NoVig, there is no reason that you should not be creating strikeout props for all of these, right? If other than ones, like if you want to get this screwball play and you're like, oh, Billy, I can't bet this right now. Well, dude, I'd still take, like you can see the best odds is minus 112. So go ahead and offer the over 7.5 at like minus 106 on ProfitX and get your order filled at plus 106 on the under, right? Like that's how you can do this. Like if you have an exchange, I have no, like first off, I'm very jealous of you. I'm excited to go back to Pittsburgh in 2 weeks to be able to have access to them. But you have so many opportunities at your fingertips to create markets, even though you might say, Billy, I don't have Bet Rivers or I'm limited on Bet Rivers. Who cares? Go create a market. I don't understand why you don't. Sorry if I'm getting a little testy. People are just so lazy and they just make excuses why they can't make. Like if you have an exchange, you have unlimited opportunities to make money sports betting. You do. You can go to any market, even if you don't have an account with that book. If you know that Fanatics is really an easy, like this is a strategy that I don't know why people don't do this, but like you're looking at Fanatics, right? And we know that Fanatics is a joke of a sports book. You can smoke them on so many different markets. Then go DVig to Pinnacle. And go use worst case and look at plays for Fanatics. And then go over to ProfitX and NoVig and start creating markets, right? Maybe you can't bet all of these, but if you can bet some of these, go over there and start creating different markets for different odds. And you can find a lot of opportunities. You really can. So that's going to be the stream for today, guys. Stop being lazy. Get after it. It's money-making season. Go make it. Tomorrow, I will be on at 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific, betting college football. It's only going to be college football. The tough part with college football is typically I only like to bet money line spreads and totals until then, but we'll look for some specific spots where maybe we can bet money for those. For Sunday, it's going to be 11 a.m. Eastern stream for NFL, and it's only going to be player props. We are only going to bet player props for the NFL at 11 a.m. Eastern. Guys, have a fantastic Friday. I won't be streaming tonight because I have some prior obligations, but have a fantastic Friday. Questions, email me, DM me. Otherwise, I'll talk to you guys tomorrow.